Welcome to DCC Train Automation. I'm James. Today we're back with Andreas from LoDi and we're going to talk about where we download the software to configure all the modules and the architecture of how it all connects up. So Andreas, the software is available on your website, and we'll have it on our website to download as well. And then in there you can configure each module for specific preferences. Would that be fair?
Yeah, right.
So does the software do anything else?
Yeah, you can control or you can have a monitoring with the software of your feedbacks, of your boosters, the points that you are switching. It's also not a configuration tool, it's also a monitoring tool for all the decoders or operators or feedbacks that you have into the system, in our system.
But once it's running, you don't have to have it working?
No, if you finished, set it up and then you don't need it anymore, because normally iTrain and WinDigipad and all the other softwares can handle. Sadly not Train Controller at this point, but iTrain, WinDigipad.
But it does connect to Train Controller, or?
With the S88 commander now you can connect the LoDi Rektor over the set train event protocol, but not the shift commander, sadly.
So that's the S88. So that's for the track detection side of it. So you can use LoDi's track detection modules with Train Controller, with basically then any system, I would have thought.
Yeah, sure.
And that's the nice thing about that product. You can use it with anyone's system.
And also you can mix it up with your old system. So if you have old S88 feedback system, feedback modules at home, you can plug it in. Our architecture starts with the network. So we need basically a network where we connect all our interfaces to. On top of that is our computer, who controls the LoDi system then, either with iTrain or with WinDigipad or whatever software you choose. For driving the trains, we need a LoDi Rektor and a LoDi booster. And how you set it up and how we configure it, we will show you now.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about was the Rektor, which is to do with the driving. So here we have a Rektor. What's the Rektor? What does it do? How does it work?
It's our command station. So you can drive DCC, Motorola and M3.
So what that is, just for the UK customers, DCC is one protocol of driving your trains. Motorola and MFX are ones that we don't generally use in the UK. So for other countries, they use those protocols to drive the trains.
On this Rektor, we have connected our LoDi booster. You can have, in total, 63 boosters have on the LoDi Rektor, which means a massive layout, a really massive layout.
So the LoDi Rektor needs, to make it work, a power supply in. So we have a USB-C, which gives us 5 volts.
Yes.
So we have 5 volts in. We then have a yellow network cable coming into it from the network, where your computer's also connected. And then we have an output, which connects up to the boosters. We use a green Ethernet Cat5 cable. And once you go into the first booster, it then chain links on from that into all of the following boosters. So as you need more boosters, you can just add one into the system and assign it a module number and also a name, so you know which booster you're monitoring or talking to at that point in time. So within iTrain, you can have monitoring little images which tell you the track voltage, they tell you the temperature of the booster, and also monitoring the current. So we're going to talk about the Rektor and what it needs. So we have power input into it, which is 5 volts on USB-C. We then have a network input, and we have an output which connects the boosters to. LoDi has a very strict colour scheme for this. So every module has its own unique colour, which determines what it's doing. So the Rektor is green, and green's for driving. So everything connected to driving your trains in terms of the modules will be colour-coded green. So what we then do is, when we link the modules together, we use that same colour cable, in this instance a Cat5 cable, which is green, so we can quickly decipher where things are going, and it's visually easy to see. So once you've connected it up, you can chain link on multiple boosters to the Rektor, and it can handle all the data through the Cat5 cables, which are also green. Now we're going to look at the boosters. There's 3 types of boosters from LoDi. There's a 5 amp, a 10 amp, and a 20 amp. So for N gauge and WHO, we use the 5 amp. And then the 2 higher scales for G gauge, gauge 1, O gauge. Would that be right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So with the 5 amp one is the most commonly used one, especially in the UK. This unit has 2 track outputs, whereas the larger scale ones only have 1 track output. You can't mix them either, so you can't have a 5 amp and a 10 amp working together on track power. It just doesn't work. That's how it works.
Yes, that's how it works. But we're splitting this 5 amp up in 2 outputs, so that we have this intelligence on the layout. So
you have 2.5 amps per track output?
Per track, but if you want to have 5 amp, you can bring them together and run as a 5 amp booster then.
So you have a choice of it being either
Yes.
2.5 amps per district or 1 district with full 5 amps?
Yes.
Okay. So that's really useful. If you need the extra power for a certain scenario or situation, that might be useful to you. There's also the network coming out of it to the next module. So if you had a second module, you got another Ethernet cable that comes out of here and they just chain link on one to the next to the next. And that's how the booster connects up. It has also on it power coming in from the power supply. And this one's at 19 volts.
At 20 volt, we have 3 different power supplies. One for 12 volt for Z scale. And a 15 volt for N, and also a 20 volt if you're going by HO.
So when you purchase the boosters, you must make sure you buy the right size power supply to go with your scale of trains. Once you've downloaded the LoDi FX programmer, which is the software you use to configure the modules, you download it and it looks like what we have on the screen here. In here you'll be able to see any of the devices on the network you've created, and in there you can configure each component. So if it's the Rektor, in the list on the side we can now see the Rektor at the top. And this in here tells us the name of the device, its IP address, which is very important. So depending on how your network works, it has to be in the IP address range of your network to be able to see it through the software. If it's not in that range, we have to reprogram the Rektor to be in the same range as your home network, or if you're using a network just for your railway, it has to be in range of that network. It's very easy to change, so in the software we can see the IP address, we can just assign it a new one and apply it, and then it carries on from there. Do you have to reboot it once you've...
It will automatically reboot then.
Okay,
Yeah.
so once you can see it, then because there's a booster connected to the Rektor, you can then scan the network. It says scan, and it looks for the new device you've connected into the Rektor. Once it sees it, you can see that in the list on the left, and then you can assign it a name so you know what this booster's for or what it's doing on your layout. Would that be the best way to use it?
Yeah, and what also is important, the LoDi programmer is available for Windows and for Mac OS and also for Linux. And what we also do is, if we have an update for one of our components, you will see that in the programmer and can easily upgrade them.
Yes, I mean, the thing is, with a lot of software, you have to go and find the update. With this, every time you open the software, as long as that computer's connected to the internet connection, it automatically hunts and downloads, and it warns you as you open it, would you like the latest firmware? And it downloads it. So you don't have to hunt for that. That's a really nice function. And then it will show you in there if a module has a firmware update. So actually we do happen to have one on this one. Yeah. So if we were to hit install now, it would update, in this instance, the Rektor to the latest firmware.
We talked about the configuration of the booster, and how you can do this we will show you now. Going to the LoDi programmer, you have on the left side a LoDi booster. When we're clicking on it, you have things that you can change, like the sensitivity. The sensitivity is to changing the short circuit detection, which means you can go to very fast, 500 milliseconds up to 7,000 milliseconds, but you also can type in here maximum of 2,500, wrong keyboard, sorry, 500, and then hit apply. You also can say, takes a moment, booster come back on. You also can say an automatical switch delay on, which means the booster tries every 5 seconds to go back on if he has a short circuit. You can turn this off by auto switch on off, which means if you have a short circuit, then you have to release it by the software. You also can have setting the railcom support on here, which means the booster will bring the cutout for the railcom on the track. We can here set the booster channel A and B in off, and also seeing the current from the booster, but we have to bring it a little bit down. The current of the booster, as well as the voltage that you have on the track, and the temperature of the booster. This configuration you can do with every booster that are connected on the system.
And now we've configured the boosters, we can now drive trains. See you on the next video.